What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Face Off Sports Network. I'm Anthony Servino with my top week one waiver wire ads. Let's get right into it with Jaleel McLaughlin. And Jaleel McLaughlin, per Fantasy Pros, is only rostered in 33% of fantasy football leagues. And let's go back to last season where he was outstanding as a rookie, 5.4 yards per carry, while hauling in 31 passes in a backfield where he shared time with guys like Samaje Perine and Javonte Williams. Jaleel McLaughlin was also the 10th best running back when it comes to yards per touch, and he also had some spike weeks. Now, a big reason why I love Jaleel McLaughlin this year and why you should absolutely get ahead of the market on him and pick him up now is that the Sean Payton offense, it loves to include the running backs in the passing game. So much so that the Denver Broncos last season, they led the NFL with 153 targets to the aforementioned running back position. A lot of those targets not only going to McLaughlin, but also the vacated Samaje Perine, who is now with the Kansas City Chiefs. Sean Payton this offseason, he's come out and praised Jaleel McLaughlin on his work ethic, on the type of player he is. We also know that McLaughlin at the collegiate level was an all-time leading rusher with over 8,100 rushing yards in 56 games at Notre Dame and Youngstown State. When it comes to Jaleel McLaughlin, I get it. Some of the knocks on this player is his compact size at 5'8", 187, but he's in the right offense. The Denver Broncos, they're not going to feature him as an every down back, and they don't have to when you have Javonte Williams, who looks outstanding in his own right. But what do we know about the historic Sean Payton's offense? They like to have two running backs. Remember, Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara. We could see a similar type of usage between Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin. Now, I'm not saying Jaleel McLaughlin is going to give us Alvin Kamara production, but what I will say is that we can get a poor man's version of Alvin Kamara out of Jaleel McLaughlin, which at the end of the day provides outstanding return on your fantasy investment. And once again, only rostered in 33% of leagues right now. That is a huge return if Jaleel McLaughlin has a really good year in PPR scoring formats. Let's go to another running back. I'm trying to get on my roster right now. That's J.K. Dobbins. Now, he's rostered in 45% of leagues, and we know the story of J.K. Dobbins. What has held this player back? Well, J.K. Dobbins has held himself back with a multitude of injuries to stall the first few years of his NFL career. Now, if we go to the games he has played, and there has not been many, in 2020 rookie season, 11.2 fantasy points per game, 2022. In 8 games, 10.2 fantasy points per game, and only 1 game in 2023, 11.7 fantasy points per game. So small sample size, but when J.K. Dobbins is on the field, he's an exceptional running back who can do a little bit of everything. He can also catch passes, but we know he's outstanding in between the tackles runner. Now, the good thing about J.K. Dobbins is that in the past, we were paying a premium that would get cheaper year in and year out because of the injury concern. Now, this year, if you were drafting J.K. Dobbins, he was going after round 10, after round 11, and in many cases, undrafted because people are scared to death to draft him. In his new landing spot with the Los Angeles Chargers, there is not going to be a learning curve. He is going to be paired up once again with Greg Roman, who was Dobbins' offensive coordinator for a few years in Baltimore. Now, also following both Dobbins and Roman over is Gus Edwards. Now, Gus Edwards is coming off of an injury in his own right, but he's a different kind of runner than J.K. Dobbins. While J.K. Dobbins can do a little bit of everything, Gus Edwards, he's a one-trick pony. He's an in-between-the-tackles runner who excels on the goal line and in short yardage situations. We could be looking at a legitimate 50-50 split with these two rushers as long as both of them can stay healthy. And again, it's not just J.K. Dobbins we're worrying about now. Gus Edwards also missed time last season with a lower body injury. So what if there's a world? Let me paint this picture for you. There is a world where J.K. Dobbins finally shakes the injury bug and he stays healthy, and maybe Gus Edwards, knock on wood, goes down to injury, and all of a sudden J.K. Dobbins might have a stranglehold on a backfield that is going to attempt to run the football in the new look Chargers team that is now controlled by Jim Harbaugh. Let's go to another waiver wire addition that you must add ahead of week 1, and that is going to be one of my favorite running backs of this rookie class, Ray Davis of the Buffalo Bills. I've been drafting all offseason long, like many of us have. I play volume leagues. One of my most rostered players is Ray Davis. Now, the Buffalo Bills, let's start here. They've been telling us for a few years now, we like James Cook. We don't love James Cook. Why do we know that? Well, a few years ago, they brought in Latavius Murray and Damian Harris. Well, Damian Harris didn't work out, got banged up, more injuries, retires. Last year, Latavius Murray, they brought in Ty Johnson. They brought in Leonard Fournette at the end of the year. They're telling us they want an in-between-the-tackles, short yardage runner to take some of those opportunities away from James Cook. I don't believe James Cook is trusted in short yardage situations. In fact, James Cook, in his career, all of his rushing attempts, which is over 300, he's only scored 4 rushing touchdowns. Last year, James Cook did not get many red zone attempts or attempts inside the 5. In fact, Latavius Murray, Ty Johnson, Leonard Fournette combined had more inside the 5 touches than James Cook. We also know that Josh Allen is going to vulture some of those opportunities, but I want to play the contrarian here. Josh Allen, every year he gets older, his body gets more banged up. Do we really see a world where Josh Allen is going to continue to take that beating? No, the Buffalo Bills, they want somebody they can trust inside the 5-yard line, that they can give the ball to and could score the football. And Ray Davis might be that guy. Now, again, Ray Davis, not rostered in many leagues, but he should be. And he's a really good running back. He was a 4th-round pick this season who had north of 1,000 rushing yards for Vanderbilt and Kentucky in his final 2 years at the collegiate level. Any preseason work that we've seen Ray Davis in, he looked outstanding, found creases in a defense, and looked really good making yards after contact. There is a world here where Ray Davis significantly eats into the workload of James Cook. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but that is very much true. Go buy into Ray Davis right now. Let's move on to the wide receiver position. And one of my guys is Mike Williams. And similar to J.K. Dobbins that we talked about a few minutes ago, Mike Williams has been hampered by injuries. If we go back to early in his career, former 1st-round pick of the Chargers, didn't really fare well. In 2021, we saw the best version of Mike Williams. He was a wide receiver 13 in fantasy points per game, played 16 games. 2022, wide receiver 20 in points per game with 13.6, played in 13 games. Last season, while only playing in 3 games because he missed the rest of the year with a torn ACL, he put up a career-high 16.7 fantasy points per game in his age 29 season. Now, he is entering his age 30 season with a new football team, but it is a very wide receiver-friendly situation. The New York Jets Aaron Rodgers, you have Garrett Wilson on one side. And with Garrett Wilson entering the prime of his career, there is no world where Mike Williams ever sees the top cover corner or double coverage. And Mike Williams is a big play waiting to happen. Aaron Rodgers, we know, is a big play, big arm quarterback who could put the ball over the top and right where Mike Williams can get it. He's free right now in fantasy football leagues, is Mike Williams, 43% rostered. And in leagues where he was drafted, he was taken after round 10, after 11, which is a steal for a player with his high of a ceiling. 2 1,000-yard receiving seasons and a 10 touchdown season on his resume. And he's not even 30 yet. If you have the bench space or an expendable back-end roster spot, maybe with a low-end player that you maybe wanted to take a chance on, move off of that guy and go pick up Mike Williams, because if he can stay healthy, he could potentially be a league winner in this Jets offense that I'm extremely bullish on, because I believe that Aaron Rodgers might have one more big year left as New York Jets and Rodgers are trying to chase a Super Bowl. Let's start winding down with a guy named Jalen Tolbert. He's only rostered in 6% of leagues. He plays for my Dallas Cowboys. So why do I like Jalen Tolbert? Well, the Cowboys moved off of Michael Gallup this offseason. Big deal. But he was clogging up the wide receiver 3 spot in that offense. We also know that Dallas didn't do anything to upgrade that offense of note. When it comes to the pass-catching options in Dallas, you have CeeDee Lamb, you have Jason Ferguson, you have an aging Brandon Cooks, and Jalen Tolbert, who is now entering his 3rd season in the NFL. Remember, year 1 for Jalen Tolbert, he didn't look good. If you go back to the record book, I remember Tolbert, it might have been his first offensive series. They called an offensive offsides penalty for lining up off the line. I'm like, this guy's a disaster. Last year, made some plays. This offseason, if you paid attention to training camp videos, CeeDee Lamb was not there. Brandon Cooks was a little bit banged up, missed some time. Jalen Tolbert had a lot of time to work with Dak Prescott, learn an offense, build a rapport, and earn the quarterback's trust, to where there's a world where Jalen Tolbert, this is an offense that is pass catcher needy. There's a world where he potentially passes Brandon Cooks on this depth chart on the Cowboys offense that, let's face it, I don't love these running backs. I'm a Cowboys fan. It's not going to be great when you have to sign Dalvin Cook and you're thinking, or the reports are saying, hey, Rico Dowdle's going to be the guy, and Zeke's going to be the short yardage guy. This is not a great scenario. Dallas might have to throw the ball even more than it did last year. And if that's the case, Jalen Tolbert could be one of the best fantasy football wide receiver pickups that you can make in week 1, because if it takes him a few weeks to get going and you have that extra bench spot, you need to get it ahead of the market. I say this all the time. Be proactive instead of reactive. Save yourself waiver wire priorities. Save yourself some fab bucks. Go pick up guys like Jalen Tolbert now, because, if everybody's looking for the next Kyron, the next Puka, these are the type of guys that I'm talking about today that potentially win your league for you. Now we're going to wrap up with my last week 1 waiver wire pickup, Greg Dulcich, who's only 2% rostered in fantasy leagues. This is a Denver Broncos tight end on a team that is desperate for pass-catching weapons. They moved off of Jerry Jeudy. They like Sutton. I don't know if they love him. We talked about McLaughlin in that running back room earlier. They got guys like Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin. They moved off of Patrick. There's a need here for pass-catching weapons, and there's going to be opportunity here. And I get Adam Troutman was the guy last year, but he was the guy last year because Dulcich could not stay on the field. He only played in 2 games last year, 10 the year before that. So he's been very limited, only playing in 12 out of a possible 34 games. If Greg Dulcich can stay on the field, I think he can earn himself a significant pass catching role in this offense. He's versatile, can line up all over the formation. And we know that Sean Payton likes to use a tight end. And on top of Sean Payton liking the tight end, this is an offense that's going to feature Bo Nix, a rookie quarterback. And what's the old NFL adage? What is the rookie quarterback's best friend? The check down running back, the short and immediate route tight end. Greg Dulcich checks off a lot of boxes. And this is another guy. If you have a deep bench, if you are playing in a tight end premium league and he's on your waiver wire, take your worst player and go take a shot on a player who has a path to targets and a path to opportunity on a team that needs pass catchers. And at the tight end position, that guy is Greg Dulcich. We're going to wrap up right now. I'm Anthony Servino. This is the Face Off Sports Network. We'll see you next time.